Right now, somewhere within arm's reach, there's a switch that can end the night in under a second. You barely think about it. But for nearly the entire existence of our species, close to 300,000 years, no such switch existed. When the sun went down, the world became a place where your eyes were almost useless, while everything that hunted for a living could still see you just fine. Leopards, hyenas, wolves, all of them built for exactly the low light that left your ancestors half blind. By every reasonable measure, humans should never have survived the dark. We have no claws built for it, no night vision worth mentioning, no fur thick enough to sit still in for 12 hours at a stretch. And yet, night after night, for thousands of generations, we didn't just survive it. We built civilization inside it. The first thing you need to understand is that fire didn't just keep our ancestors warm. It rebuilt the entire architecture of the human day. In 2014, archaeologists working in Qesem cave, just east of modern Tel Aviv, uncovered something remarkable: a hearth roughly 6 feet wide, rebuilt in the exact same spot, over and over, for tens of thousands of years. Ash layer stacked on ash layer, going back some 300,000 years. Before that hearth existed, going out after dark meant one thing: becoming prey. Fire changed the math. A burning hearth created a boundary that predators generally avoided crossing, a small bubble of safety where, for the first time, staying awake after sunset didn't automatically mean getting hunted. Around that same hearth at Qesem cave, researchers found something else telling. Butchered animal bones and meat-cutting tools clustered tightly in one area, and a completely different set of tools scattered a few feet away in a separate space. That's not random debris, that's organization. A group of early humans had already decided where they ate, where they worked, and where they gathered, long before anyone had a word for any of those ideas. The hearth wasn't just a fire. It was the floor plan of the first home humanity ever built, and it changed what happened after dark forever. Because once that hearth existed, something new became possible. For the first time, a group of people had a reason to stay awake together after sunset, doing nothing urgent at all, just existing, side by side in a small circle of light. But here's the part that should unsettle you a little. For most of human history, nobody inside that circle was ever fully unconscious at the same time. Not once, in probably 300,000 years. That sounds impossible. It isn't. In 2017, anthropologist David Samson and his team strapped activity monitors onto Hadza hunter-gatherers in Tanzania and tracked them, minute by minute, for 20 straight nights. The results, published in Proceedings of the Royal Society B, are hard to believe. Out of thousands of recorded hours, there were only 18 total minutes when every single member of the camp was asleep at the exact same moment. 18 minutes. Out of 20 nights. The rest of the time, someone, somewhere in that camp was awake or resting lightly enough to react instantly if something moved in the dark. This wasn't insomnia, and it wasn't an accident. Samson's team believes it's something older, a built-in rotation of watchfulness, written into us by evolution itself. And the rotation isn't random. It tracks almost exactly with age. Teenagers and young adults, biologically wired to be night owls, tend to fall asleep last and wake up last, covering the deep, dangerous middle of the night. Older adults, the natural early risers, tend to wake before dawn, covering the final hours before sunrise. Put both generations in the same camp, and you get something close to round-the-clock coverage without a single formal guard shift ever being assigned. Think about what that actually means. The teenager in your house who can't fall asleep before 1 a.m. and the grandparent who's wide awake at 5 might not be malfunctioning at all. They may be running a rotation older than agriculture, older than fire, maybe older than language itself. One where groups who slept in staggered shifts likely had a survival edge over groups who all went under at once. Modern life just removed the fire that rotation once protected. There's a second layer to this that's even harder to believe. Long before street lamps, before candles were common, there was a light source ancient humans could never control, and their bodies answered to it anyway: the moon. In 2021, Chronobiologist Horacio de la Iglesia and his team published a study in Science Advances that tracked sleep across very different groups: indigenous Tobacom communities in Argentina, some with electricity and some without, alongside a modern, electrically lit population in the United States. Using motion trackers worn on the wrist for weeks at a time, they found the same pattern in every single group, rural or urban, electric light or none. In the nights leading up to a full moon, people fell asleep later and slept for less time overall. Their bodies were sinking, faintly but measurably, to a rock 384,000 kilometers away, one they had no ability whatsoever to switch on or off. Why would evolution wire that in? The Tobacom communities gave researchers a hint just by talking about their own lives. Moonlit nights, they said, were the nights filled with activity, visiting neighbors, working outside, staying up late together. It makes sense. Before flashlights, before street lamps, walking around on a moonless night was genuinely dangerous. You couldn't see the ground, let alone a predator. A full moon changed that completely, turning an ordinary dark night into one of the only times ancient humans could safely extend their day. For groups that depended on knowing exactly when the next bright night was coming, for hunting, traveling, or simply staying safe, the moon effectively worked as humanity's oldest calendar, long before anyone carved a single mark to track it. Some part of you, it turns out, is apparently still waiting for it. And light did something else in the dark that had nothing to do with safety or sleep at all. It made pictures move. Deep inside painted caves like Lascaux and Chauvet in France, some of the artwork isn't just detailed, it's deliberately layered. Multiple legs on the same bison, overlapping outlines of a horse's head drawn slightly apart, almost like two frames of the same motion. For decades, researchers wrote this off as artistic error, or simple repainting over old work. Then, in 2012, archaeologist Marc Azema and artist Florent River published a study in the journal Antiquity, arguing for something else entirely, that Paleolithic artists were animating their paintings on purpose. These chambers, remember, are pitch black, no matter what time of day it is outside. Every image in them was always meant to be seen by firelight, and only by firelight. Some of these chambers sit hundreds of meters underground, reachable only through narrow, twisting crawlways. Every single visit meant carrying enough fuel to get there, work by that light, and find your way back out, powered by nothing but a hand-carried flame. In 2016, an international team, led by physicist Fabio Falchi, published the most detailed map ever made of artificial light at night. The findings were stark. The Milky Way, the galaxy you are physically standing inside of right now, has already vanished from the eyes of 1/3 of humanity. Nearly 80% of North Americans will never see it from where they sleep. Neither will 60% of Europeans. We didn't lose the night by accident. We traded it on purpose. A rock that no longer pulls at us, a fire we no longer need each other to keep alive, a moving picture we no longer have to build ourselves out of shadow and stone, all of it for a switch by the door. And most of us never once stopped to ask what exactly we got in return.